The fleet off the Galapagos was just one example. Our observers in Iran, Djibouti and West Africa have been telling us for years about overfishing in their regions and questionable practices by Chinese boats. From Mauritania down the West African coast to the Gulf of Guinea, an estimated 40% of the fish that are caught illegally. That has a direct impact on 7 million locals who depend on fishing for their living. This video was filmed by fishermen from the Ivory Coast working on a Chinese trawler. They said this bottlenose dolphin, despite its protected status, was stored and transported on the boat, which is illegal. The Ivorian fishermen sent other videos to the observers, saying they are evidence of overfishing in the region.
Par mon mécontentement, j'ai filmé ça pour montrer ça à la communauté internationale. Voici ce qui se passe dans les eaux ivoiriennes. C'est les alevins qu'on pêche ici.
Voilà les poissons qu'on déverse, des tonnes de poissons.
Captain Jean de Dieu Dacoury is the fisherman's spokesman.
Our fishermen are sick of overfishing by the Chinese boats. They don't respect the biological recovery period. That's when the fishing stops to give the different species the time to reproduce. It upsets the balance of the marine ecosystem. And when you see Chinese boats come here and take all the fish in Ivorian waters and send them to China, that's a problem. We're already having a hard time keeping numbers up for the local market. When we say Chinese boats, we mean boats that fly the Ivorian flag but have Chinese crews.
Ça, c'est un navire chinois. Nous voyons là un des chefs des embarquements.
The boats have Chinese names like Hai Lu Feng, Rong Chang, Yong Yu. The captain is Chinese, the fishing master is Chinese, the engineer is Chinese. The other members of the crew, the sailors, are all African. It's against the Ivorian Maritime Code.
The code says 30% of the crew is supposed to be Ivorian, including the officers. Jean de Dieu says none of the Chinese boats currently in the port of Abidjan complies.
La nuit encore, on va travailler, plus que les esclaves.
There's a mafia that's been in place for years that's working against the interests of our fishermen.
Of 80 fishing boats based at the port of Abidjan, 55 are operated by joint ventures, companies registered in the Ivory Coast but with Chinese managers. The boats get licenses to fish in Ivorian waters and fly the Ivorian flag. We tried to track them online, but almost all of the Chinese boats deactivated their tracking signals. Like this one, the Hai Lu Feng 11, owned by a joint venture called Haina Fishery. Boats of this size are required to keep their signal on at all times. Authorities in Nigeria slapped the company with a €6,600 fine in May because of the Hai Lu Feng's deactivated signal. This lack of transparency is often associated with overfishing, which is rife in the region. In Senegal and Mauritania, 50% of species are overfished, one of the highest levels in the world. Fishermen in the region say their governments don't stand up to foreign-owned fishing interests. The last formal statement by African leaders was in 2015, when 24 African countries called on China to end illegal fishing by its fleets.
Many of the Chinese boats have been caught doing IUU fishing in West African waters. IUU means fishing that is illegal, unreported and unregulated. They catch fish that are too small, they catch species that aren't on their license, they catch species that are protected, they fish where they're not supposed to. What's happening in Ivory Coast today has already happened in Ghana and Liberia, and we're beginning to see it in Senegal. The fish stock is being decimated by these huge boats that have come in. Much of the fish that's caught nowadays is transformed into fish meal to feed farm animals in Europe or in Asia, or to feed farmed fish. They're killing fish in Africa to feed other fish in Europe or Asia. It's crazy. Don't forget that here in West Africa, many people depend on fish for much of their animal protein, whether it's fish that's been processed or dried or smoked. overfishing is a threat to food security. There's another consequence too, what we see happening with illegal migration. When a fisherman gives up hope, when he feels he can no longer make a living, what does he do? He says to himself, I have to give up fishing. It's all I know, so I have to leave the country.
In recent weeks, thousands of people from Senegal and Mauritania have made the dangerous crossing to Spain's Canary Islands. Among them, many fishermen.